Good evening, everyone. I'm Abhishek Narayan, Data and AI Consultant at Relive, and I welcome you all for joining us for this Generative AI Summit. We are Dave Busters, of course, and let's begin. Okay. So let's quickly have a look at today's schedule. I'll just quickly walk through, maybe from now till 5:10. A small keynote, basically a quick walkthrough of what AI and stuff is. From 5:10 till almost 5:45, we'll have Hassan, Dr. Hassan, who will be talking about transforming industries, how industry applications of AI. And then, of course, we will have Natalie, who is from Salesforce, who will be discussing more about AI-driven personalization, leveraging Salesforce. And of course, we are awaiting another speaker. He's just about to reach, got stuck somewhere. But from 3K Discovery, he will be talking in depth about best-in-class, cutting-edge buyer personalization, basically AI impacting retail and commerce. Then, of course, we'll have Hassan, who will be having some quick demos on AI implementation, real time, I would say, and real life. And then, if we get time, then from 6:40 till 7, we can have quick panel discussion followed by network, reception games and everything. The games we are waiting at the ground floor. So this is a list of our speakers. We have Natalie here from Salesforce. As I mentioned, we are awaiting Mark. He should be here anytime soon. Then we have Dr. Hassan, who is our data analytics practice head. Then we have Lala. He should be also joining us soon. We have Hussein, who leads account relations at Transformative, and this is not so important, Abhishek, in front of you. As I mentioned, I'm a data and AI consultant at Transformative. Hi, good evening, welcome. Please have a seat. Don't worry, we just started like a minute ago.
You're up next.
Okay, I'll proceed from here. Cool. So let's start with the basics. Of course, AI is the buzzword right now. It's the talk of the town. Everyone speaking about AI, but let's get some funny facts about. So I kept this. Hey, Mark. Hi, good evening, everyone. Hi. Please make yourself comfortable. Anyways, this was the most famous AI quote running nowadays. This was a slide for you all to guess. But anyways, this is an often heard quote that AI won't replace you, but the person using it will. All of us know this pretty well, but my most preferred version is basically my most favorite is from Pfeiffer Lee, who's from Stanford. That AI is not a substitute for human intelligence because, of course, they complement each other and it doesn't replace. It's a tool to amplify creativity and ingenuity, and the whole agenda of this session is, of course, to build on top of it. Okay, any guesses for this person? Oh, I'm so sorry. This person. Any guesses? Such a quick hint, he is a localite, I can say. Huh? You know him? Good. Okay, so let's break the suspense. He is colloquially known as the godfather of AI, the godfather of artificial intelligence. And his name is Geoffrey Hinton. He is basically a British Canadian, but of course has been there in Canada and has been there in U of T and in Google Brains for quite some time now. I just, of course, as we pay tribute to the leaders, I kept him as a first person to be spoken about. For last almost a decade, he has been working and dividing his time between U of T and Google Brain. Said that he quit Google in May 2023, that's last year. Just he wanted to be very vocal about responsible AI and of course application and the risk involved with AI. Of course, this is an important factor. In 2017, he co-founded and became the chief scientific advisor at Vector Institute, again in Toronto. And then, of course, won numerous awards, including the Turing Award, which is known as the Nobel Prize kind of for computing. And then Gerard Herzberg, Canada Gold Medal, Canada's highest award for science and engineering. Okay. Any guesses why is Toronto considered as an AI hub? Absolutely amazing. Any other additions? I just mentioned Google Brain. So they have their offices here, as far as I know. Cool. So basically, of course, Toronto has got a strong academic presence, of course, from U of T, then York University. York University has a dedicated AI page, AI from York U. And then we have Ryerson, that's TMU now. Then we have, of course, leading researchers here, including Geoffrey Hinton. Yes, this was most widely spoken about. We had government investment of $2.4 billion pledged by the recent government announcement. Then, of course, we have got like more than 500 plus AI startups. A few of them even in Series C and Series D funding. Then, of course, corporate presence, as I mentioned, Google's AI research expansion with Brain office in Toronto. And then, as I mentioned, the Vector Institute by Geoffrey, it's also here. So, while we'll be going in depth about AI in this presentation further, but I also wanted to peek around some interesting facts of AI, which are often, overlooked upon. Okay. How many of you actually knew that AI dates back to 1940s and 50s and 60s? The concept of AI. Like,
it's wild. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, cool. So, precisely this term was coined in 1956 at Dartmouth conference. If you even look at the birthplace of artificial intelligence, if you search that term, this would come as on top of Google search. The neural network model, of course, was discussed in 43. Then the Turing test by Alan Turing, of course, that was proposed by 1950s. Of course, the computational comparative to human intelligence. Then the first AI programs were decided in the tune of 1951, and then this ELIZA, that is first conversational program which was simulating the human conversation alike, that was there in 1966. So we date back to those ages. So whatever we have been seeing in the sci-fi movies or fiction, that was never a fiction, I can say. And then, of course, this Deep Blue has been there in the news because he had defeated the world chess leader. Okay, so time for quick keywords of the day. One is AI winters. Any guesses? Okay, like the famous lines, "Winter is coming." This is AI winters means the periods of reduced funding, of course, due to unmatched expectations in AI progress. And as you can see, there have been multiple sine waves of it. There have been episodes of AI ascent as well as AI descent, or what we call as AI winters. And then the second keyword is LVM. How many of you did know about this before? Everyone spoke about LLM. Of course, this is not something which is separate in LLM, but of course an augmented, or you can say a specialized part of LLMs, or maybe the language model, that's large vision models. Quickly naming a few of them. Google's Vision Transformer is one major, and then Swen, Clip is there, Landing Lens, and you can of course do more researches about it. I just wanted to give you some quick two keywords. Okay, some common industry applications if we talk about. Of course, we know in predictive maintenance for manufacturing, we know like the uptime, downtime, and the maintenance can be scheduled. The FinServ is leveraging AI to the best level. Like there are dedicated solutions in FinServ, including the anti-money laundering and everything. Legal and insurance, we have huge interpretations of legality. Of course, AI in all the legalities ingested in AI give tremendous results. Healthcare, not only drug discovery to be precise, but healthcare has enormous potential of AI application now and going forward. And just like quickly moving on to employee engagement, and then 7 on customer personalization in retail, commerce, e-commerce, whatever. But then we have Mark and Matt speaking in details about it. That's why I kept it there. Moving forward, so this is a quick brief about what Royal Cyber is, who we are, basically the presenters of this event today. So we are a managed service company, an IT consulting firm. I've been there in the practice for more than 20 years now. Have wide workforce of 2,000 plus, and especially have 500 plus certified consultants across technologies. You name the hyperscalers, you name the giants. We have expertise in-house. Then of course we operate from 10 plus offices across the globe. Quick peek around the global map shows that we are spread across it. Of course, barring Antarctica. And then we have more than 600 plus clients whom we are serving. One of the important things I wanted to highlight here is that the technology partnership. So, of course, as a managed service partner, we are not tied or married to specific technology, but we are client focused. Of course, we are committed to them, and that's why we enjoy and leverage our cross-technology collaboration. Quick insight of what we do. Of course, we speak about the cloud migration and deployment and cost optimization, about middleware integration, modernization as I spoke, DevOps, data and analytics, AI, Gen AI, and enterprise AI, of course, including all of it, and so on and so forth. A quick look at few of our technology associations or the company associations I was speaking about. You would see that all the major giants of all these specific domains, we are already working alongside them. Okay, now I think I have bored you all enough. Now it's time for me to pass it on to Hassan, Dr. Hassan, who will be taking on from here and discussing industry applications. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek. So first let me talk about some AI solutions, because we talked about AI and how it's a hype word, but I would like to highlight that there are 4 key streams. AI is not about artificial intelligence. Let's break it down. So first step is we talk about data, and that's a domain called data engineering. This is where you start working with your data, you cleanse your data, you create ETL pipelines, then you move forward it to another team. And that team is, guess what? Machine learning solutions. So in machine learning solutions, what we do is we create relevant features out of our information. Suppose we could create 10 features and we want to forecast what is going to happen in next 7 days in a sales forecast. Afterwards, we would just deploy those models and see whether we are getting enough good results. So testing is a very important part in machine learning side. Another distinction is this generative AI solution. So they are another parallel stream of machine learning. That is that we train our models and we automatically pick pre-trained models. So if you talk about GPT, GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformers. So that's the idea that we just pick something out of it. If you want to create in-house model, you would go to machine learning side. If you want to pick pre-trained model, you would go to generative AI. And then the 4th stream is our ops stream, which is called ML ops. So the joke goes in Cornell University is that what happens after that, we don't know. What happens after model goes into production, we don't know. So for one thing is sure, we know about the model. What happens when it goes into production, either our data could drift, our data might change. So that is one change. In that sense, we have a feedback loop. We would go back to our data engineering team. Another change could happen with our model size. We might need to again retrain our model, create new hyperparameters, and again put it into production. Or another change could be that we get a new knowledge from our domain. These all changes could happen. So concept drift, data drift, model drift, all concepts are part of this. In Royal Cyber, when we look at a project, we look at all 4 streams. Because idea is that you just plug and play a model, but that's beyond the truth. It is a complicated, complex process with a couple of feedback loops, and you need to actually understand where those feedback loops are and where the problem is. So like a doctor, we diagnose the problem. So if I'm going for a headache and I'm just looking for a pain in the foot and I'm giving you a medicine or uric acid, of course your headache won't go. So same case is here. We need to write proper diagnosis of the problem. So moving forward about Gen AI, because that's the theme of this discussion today. So generative AI is a special type of artificial intelligence where we get our data, we train our model based on that domain knowledge, then we test it, and then we just put into our production system. The idea is that you just take some part of your data, train it, keep some part of your data for testing. Mostly 80-20 rule. 80% for training, 20% for testing, and once you know that your model is performing enough well, then you put it into production. Consider this idea as a student. We just get the student to memorize the right course content, and once that course is done, then we send that student to our test, right? So that's the idea of learning. There are two concepts that are used in generative AI. One is called prompt engineering. So you give your model different prompts to tweak it. Another way is that you use fine tuning, that you improve parameters of your model to find better results. So these are two key elements of generative AI. Talking about different domains, there is a domain of AI, which is like a upper layer. Everything comes under that, whether you're talking about data science, data engineering, machine learning, generative AI, or deep learning, all of it is just under that. So machine learning is another way of saying AI. As Abhishek was showing, that in 50s, we started working with AI, but then the term didn't work out. So in 70s, the new term actually came into existence, which is machine learning. In early 2010 or so, Google started working with their DeepMind and other kind of projects, and they used this term of deep learning. So with deep learning, what they meant is that you're working with your neural networks. So that was the only difference. Basically, if you're working with your random forest of your ensemble models, you're working with machine learning. If you're working with neural networks, you're working with deep learning. And then came this generative AI, and it came thanks to a paper from Google, which was Attention All You Need, where they talk about transformers. So enough about history, let's talk about 4 key applications of Gen AI. Number 1 is text generation. Second is image generation. Third one is audio, and last but definitely not least is video. I'll talk about each of them one by one. So first one, I think we all are very familiar with this. This is where language model comes in. This is where Chat GPT comes into picture. We talk about how you write some text and you get a text in response. It could be your chatbot, it could be your content generation, it could be anything that is related to image. But what about if you want to do something cross-check? Like you want to write a text and an image would come on the other side. That is also possible. We call them clip. I think Abhishek also showed there. The key models that are working over here are, of course, OpenAI has different versions. We are now on GPT-4. There will be more and more 5, 6. I don't know how many. In Meta, we have recently Llama 3.1. And of course, in Google, we have Gemini, which is doing wonders. So there are other open source models as well, like Falcon is one example, which is becoming very famous. Claude has their Anthropic, has also this kind of a model. So new models are coming and going, but the idea is that if something is around your text data, then of course you will be working with these models. But how about if you are working with image? And again, I'm talking about generation of an image. So the idea is that you train your model up to the point when it gives a very good response of an image generation. Mostly these we are seeing that we have Sora, for example, or we have other Midjourney or DALL-E are the key models. But what we are seeing these image generation, especially in content generation in movies and all these, deepfake is a very notorious example of image generation, where you actually get an image of a simple me-looking guy and just morph it with Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt, and it looks really realistic. So that is one example of image generation. But so far, we haven't seen a breakthrough of this image generation into industrial or a business context. I'll talk about it shortly because we have a case study where we actually talk about image processing and image generation. Moving forward to audio methods. So in traditional system, back in early 2000, we used to work that all speech data would be transformed into text data. and then they read this text data like a language model. But now they are more advanced. Now we use more ASR technologies, that is audio kind of research techniques, by which those techniques you directly take an audio data and you transform that into a generator side. The disadvantage if you convert those audio into your text data, it's actually you might lose those sentiments, because sentiment is a very important part of our life. So if I'm saying something out of sarcasm, that is not detected in a language model, but in audio that could be a very important part of it. Similarly, one thing is different in one language and it could be transformed very differently into another language. So something in Mandarin is different, and Cantonese, it might have a very different connotation. Although both languages are known as Chinese, but then Chinese culture is very different in mainland versus Hong Kong. So these kind of differentiations are very important. Key models are, of course, this voice box and Whisper from OpenAI. So right now, OpenAI is leading market in this domain with Whispers. And moving to finally video. So video is nothing but frames of your image data. So if you have an image running into different frames, maybe 30, 40, 50, you would just transform them into your matrices and then start working on this. But thanks to the Sora OpenAI, you don't need to do that. So it's just like a basic formula of converting your audio to your text. You don't need to do that. You can directly go to your video data. The only problem with this is that you need high computational power. You need GPUs, you need efficient system who could do the computing and then generate you results that are desired. And again, model is ImageN is right now leading the industry, but Sora, we are also seeing those wonders. In series, you actually have a tangible data, a tabular data. So when you're talking about 3.79, that is less than 1. But if you're talking about binary, then 1 and 0 doesn't mean anything. So they're not greater than or equal to anything. I don't want to go into too much technicalities about this aspect, but the idea is that time series is the least explored method into transformer domain, and there are some models like TimeGPT or Type from Google, but we have a long way to go to create a generative model that would match text, image, or voice. Something about generative AI, and I'm going to simplify it. I just touched upon that. So number one part is your discriminative model and your generative model. Your discriminative models are the model where you train a certain set on your data, then you divide that and you just check this on your test data. The downside is that you are doing kind of a cheating. You are just laying your own data out and saying that later on it will perform well. It might happen that when it goes into production and you see a real life data, it might be very different than that. One classical example is COVID. When COVID happened, we never anticipated what is going to happen. So our patterns, our trends all failed because we could not predict that toilet papers could be more important than anything else. So models won't actually get that information because they didn't learn that on data. The second one is actually GANs. This method became very famous thanks to Google from their 2014 paper. The idea is that you have two images. One image is your original image and one image is your generated image. You train your generated image up to a point where it becomes precisely same or up to a same accuracy level as your copy or duplicate image. So if you have a painting of Voltaire, it should eventually look like or pretty much same up to that point. That's where this adversarial concept comes in, that these two are actually competitive of each other. So train the model up till a point that it starts performing better. Classical example of reinforcement learning. If you don't know that, you can talk to me after this one. I'll explain that happily. Third one is transformer. These are actually game changer. 2017 paper, attention is all you need, that came up. They talked about transformer. It was a concept where they have an encoder and a decoder. It seems like a mundane paper, an average paper, because they were talking about English to French translation. But then it changed everything, because from there we started getting these language models. Now we use transformer every day in ChatGPT, in Llama, in Falcon, and they are becoming more and more advanced and developed. Idea is simple. You want to train your model on millions of data points, on millions of parameters. After that, you save it in your system, and then you put it on public domain. Now, if I want to use that model, I don't need to do anything. I just take that pre-trained model, put that on my data, and it's ready. It's ready to go. But you might detect the problem that if the domain is different, if model is trained on finance, and I'm using it in insurance, I might actually get very, very deceiving results. And the problem is, or the risk is, that if we are talking to a customer whose requirement is very different, how we are going to solve it. That's where the concept of science versus arts would come into play. So the understanding is that AI is like a magic, that you just get a pre-trained model and you just put into your system, plug and play, and life is easy. Well, it's easier, but not that easy. You still need to know your data, you need to know your domain knowledge, you need to know right ways to test your model so that you can actually get back to your client and their requirement. So again, if someone is using an approach which is more client-oriented, then these models are very helpful, but then you need to do more scientific methods to actually come very close to that. And this one is talking about advancement of AI. Why I'm trying to show you is that earlier, when we talk about this 2017, I was talking about this transformer concept. In 18, there was a new paper. In 19, there is a new paper. And now after 23, we know that how much development is happening over here. You can see how many new ideas. Almost every month, we are getting something new. And this is not stopping, because this is also on image side or vision side. Same thing is happening. And I'm sure while we are talking about models and all these things, there would be someone on open source side or a company who would be launching a new model. So there is a heavy focus on new models and new ideas, but the point again being missing, that are they relevant to your business problem? Are they customer centric? Or do we have these models which are actually going larger, bigger than ever? We are using, if we are using 1 billion data, then maybe we are using in other model 5 billion data points, in another model 10 billion. And I'm sure one day we will find 1 trillion data points model. But would it solve the problem on the business side? I mean, look at banking sector. If you are solving a problem of credit scoring, it's a very different problem. If you are solving fraud detection, it's a very different problem. If you're talking about wealth management, it's a very different problem. So how can we have one model that would solve all the problems? That's not possible. We need to have a tweaking and a customization method, and that's where consulting company like Relive would actually come in place.
Just if you have a look here, yeah. So the LVM which I mentioned, and which was a new word for most of us, if you see there's a parallel, curve there. The vision transformer starts right there just before 2021, and then I like give the examples, clips, showing demo, and then the VIT, and then it goes as up there like Google Gemini. So everyone is talking about the LLMs for that matter, but this LVM, despite being a big keyword, big thing in the market, but was still not very known. So just wanted to bring some notice here. Thanks, Stan.
Yeah, thank you, Abhishek. So I think that's a very valid point, that we always talk about text, but less about other terms. And we also talked about time series, and we also talk about cross kind of version. So one thing you write in a text, another thing would on the other side would come and pop up into your image or maybe into your video. So if you're on e-commerce site, you would write that show me what are the new codes based on this size and specification. And instead, the model would tell you or give you an image information. They might actually give you a video information or more advanced kind of solutions. So these things could actually happen. And finally, we talk about this.
Yeah, I had a question. So there's a lot of different models. Sometimes they're overwhelming. Just the amount of models out there and the best, greatest, whatever. It's kind of confusing. There's one use case I was looking at. Can we just give that as an example to walk through? So one of the scenarios I'm thinking through is a procurement situation. So our company sells products in the Canadian government through a procurement portal. And every month, the government reorders by city or by region the same products over and over again, but it's a competitive bidding process. Okay? And through that, each bid that we submit every month, we win or lose, whatever, we kind of know who the competitors are. We kind of know, like, from a supply, some of our supplies are based on commodity prices, so we kind of hedge, so we have an idea of the prices. But our bidding process has, for example, we need to go online and find the bids whenever they become released. We need a text response, like we need to have a competitive bid description, sales, all the like legal terms and stuff like that are kind of repeated. And then the last part that we have is we have to go on and look for bids. We have to give a text response to all the bids, all the different criteria that we have, and some legal context. And then the last thing is the actual price. We need to have a competitive price for that particular month, for that particular situation. And we have one of the big things that our sales reps do a lot is look at competitive pricing in other regions or historical pricing. So that's sort of I don't know if this is sort of an sort of business problem to kind of solve, but to what level can AI help with some of those processes in this sort of competitive bidding procurement system? Because the system's sort of rigged against us. So the government gets all the data and they pick, and lowest one wins and so forth. So are there ways where the AI can both help provide the answer, but also say look at historical data so that it's like one thing that I'm concerned about with our sales reps is how much time we have to submit the bids. So if we look at historical data, normally for our sales reps to look at historical data, it's kind of time consuming and all the other factors and stuff like that. So is there a way to put things together for that?
So just to answer that one, there is a concept called multi-modularity. So what you're talking about is actually multiple problems solving in a different directions, and multiple problems have multiple models and they are cascaded. So like you're talking about historical data. So first you would use a predictive model, and on top of it, maybe you would use a classifier for your bidding types. And then on top of it, if you want to create a prescriptive model that would tell you what kind of decisions you can make, then you might actually use a language model. So in that sense, you could create this cascade solution of 1, 2, 3 models. And each model's output would become actually input of the next model. And eventually there will be a population of dashboard where you can track all your information, more like a Power BI kind of a dashboard, where you can track all your information and you can check on your model whether the information that you are getting is correct or is off chart. So the idea is that it would be a prediction. So either we would predict that our prediction is giving an accuracy of 95%. It will never ever be 100%, let's be honest, because it's science. So if you're getting some number of 85 to 95, I would say it's a pretty good number. Out of 100, you are actually getting 85 right responses. And through that, you can improve your model further and further by doing fine tuning, by checking again more information from your domain, creating new features, gaining more and more knowledge about your idea. So again, one solution or what we are talking about here is not going to solve your problem. It's a combination or cascade solution of machine learning, AI, data engineering, and then of course, offsite, right? We'll talk about this one case study where we have actually multiple models, and then I'll show you and we'll come back to your point. But thanks, really appreciated for your comment. So in this population of model, I don't want to actually increase this panic in the room that we have already too many models. What I'm talking about is more and more models here. The idea is that division or segmentation of model is important. So one is proprietary models. What do I mean by that concept? If you're talking about Databricks, it's a company. They have created their own language model, which is called DBRX. They have worked with Mosaic ML over the year to create this model. Then we have Amazon. They have their Bedrock. We have Google. They are working with Gemini. We just talked about it. Then you have SAP. They have Joule. Then you have Salesforce. They have Einstein. IBM. They have their Watson. It's more like your managed service. You just go and plug into that system. It's very easy to be used. It's managed service, and it's actually provided by a solid, trusted cloud companies which have an experience over the years. But if we get the case where these are not providing or rendering you right results, you can always go to third-party integration. By that I mean if you are working with Google and Google's own model is not working very well, you can always integrate OpenAI into that picture. So that's another company which is working over the years. We all know about OpenAI, DeepMind, all these companies. So another good example is, for example, this NVIDIA is becoming or getting a lot of traction. They have also their own model. You can always integrate with that cloud solution to the model one. And then the third option those companies have is an open source option, that you can go and find out what other companies have. Llama, Facebook, Meta has their own open source model. Falcon is another open source model. And then, of course, there are Hugging Face is very famous with their BERT models. So there are versions of these different classifications. Why I'm talking about these different variations and in classes, because every client has different demands. Some are more prone towards performance. They want accurate results, and hence they want to have more potent models. Some have actually cost as their concern. So if OpenAI is very expensive, you are only working on a proof of concept, and it's out of your budget, we suggest to go for open source solutions. And then third one is security, which is very, very important, especially if we go into Middle Eastern market, which are just on the ground level with their cloud. So they have some trusting issues. And why not? We are seeing this every day with trust issues, with cloud companies doing some fishy jobs. So with that, they are actually more open with open source models, pun intended. So in these all scenarios, it depends what your solution or what your client is requiring. It's always customer segmented. And what they require, we only talk about those issues. So with this setup on the table, I think it's a good time to go and see different use cases, different B2B and B2C components of it, so that we actually come more into application. Because I could talk about this theory for more than 1 hour. I don't think you have enough patience in all this, so I would invite now Nidhi for the next segment. Stage is yours.
Well, I might not need the mic, so I'm just gonna talk loudly. So hi everybody. So can I get a read here of you mentioned pharma. I heard you work. What do you do? Sorry.
Yeah, it's manufacturing.
Manufacturing. What are some other industries that are in the room? Anybody want to raise their hands? Yeah. Retail.
Yeah.
Sorry, insurance. Anybody else? Yeah.
Fintech. It's basically financial.
Fintech. Any other industries there?
Telecommunication.
Skincare and cosmetics.
Okay. Love that. Okay. Anything else?
That's
I'm industry, but
That's
I also
okay.
like yeah. Anybody else here? Any other industries not mentioned so far? Okay. So I'm from Salesforce, and my topic is this equation. I think everybody knows this equation. AI plus data plus CRM, and then I added plus trust plus commerce because I'm on the commerce cloud team. Before we get started, I may be talking about some forward-looking functionality as Salesforce has released. If you happen to be in a buying cycle, please do not buy based on what I say things today. Okay. So hi, I'm Nat. I'm local to Toronto, and just like Hinton, I also went to U of T, so we have that in common. There I actually studied physics, and I ended up working at IBM, and now I'm a product marketing manager at Salesforce, and I actually host the Commerce Cloud Innovations podcast. So I would like you to take out your phones and follow the podcast, if you could please do that. So if you just point it at the screen, you'll find the Salesforce Commerce Cloud Innovations podcast on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, just follow. There are something like 80 episodes out already. And a very old episode, I think episode 21, speaks about personal assistance, which I will talk a little bit about today. So I actually love the content and presentation so far. I'm impressed at how academic it is. I feel like a lot of events these days are very salesy, and they're very focused on product, and so it's great to sort of understand what these technologies do. But you're right, you've defined the terms, you've defined the tech. I'm going to talk about applications. So what are we seeing in the market today, and what are we seeing with our customers? We know that we're in a new era. We know the shopping habits are changing. Customers now expect an experience and make their decisions based on that experience. But also, most people struggle with the unified data strategy. That's actually hampering everybody. There's a mistake on this page. I meant to say commerce. We're actually moving from this idea of e-commerce as a separate category. We know since the pandemic, e-commerce has moved from benchmarking 10% to 70% and continuing to grow. This concept of omni-channel is going to go away. And e-commerce is not going to be something that retailers do. E-commerce is going to be something that everybody has to think about doing. And there's going to be no differentiation between brick and mortar, online, social, commerce anywhere, and there will be no difference in the way that B2B sellers purchase from the way that shoppers purchase. I know this because I interviewed like 80 people, so. But we know that the purchasing journey today is very complex with many different touch points. You talked about the bid system, that is crazy. And that's like probably the most complicated, as complicated as it can get. And so we believe as a customer success obsessed company that we're in a position to help because we can help amongst many different categories, from optimizing marketing to optimizing commerce to optimizing CRM service, etc. And we can help you create that orchestration line. So we've been thinking about that and how we would achieve that. And we know that commerce data is not an island. We know that it needs to be unified, and we know that it needs to be connected to enterprise data, to your data lakes, to your order history, to your ERP, etc. And we know that with Salesforce, if you could just unify all your data, bundle on those business insights, you would have the ability to orchestrate that journey. So instead of asking, hey, what model should I be using? We are in the business of packaging. Some of our AI is not even in models, let's be real. But what we focus on doing is creating the business result that you need based on the business results that our customers are asking for and just delivering that insight regardless of model. So we're all about packaging. So we created this concept of the Einstein One platform. We've acquired a lot of companies, and one of the challenges is, let's say you're on the e-commerce site and you're shopping. E-commerce, we know, is the most voluminous type of data. Your click streak, your preferences, what products you're looking at, what you're interacting with. We know that marketing is the next most voluminous data. How many emails are you interacting with? How many messages are you sending? And we know CRM is the lowest volume data because how often do you see sales reps entering the correct information in the CRM? However, CRM can have valuable information, like this customer is not having a good time. And is this really the time to send them that email or that promotion or wish them happy birthday when they just had a feud with your sales rep on the phone? So we've created the Einstein One platform that connects all of these clouds through Data Cloud. Data Cloud is our, what we call near core data lake. And now we're running one AI engine on it as opposed to different AI engines that specialize in different functionality. We know that data wins AI. It's not really about the model anymore, it's about how much data it trains on. Insights. And leveraging these insights, you have the ways in which you can execute or create actions based on those insights. We see that as an evolution. A lot of people may be here right now, right? It's really important to do the data engineering necessary for the models to be successful. Once you sort of selected your LM, you're training, you're launching, then you can begin to actually engage the AI, and we think the future is going to be GPT powered. Now, we've recently announced something called Agent Force. And these agents will be able to do a variety of tasks in a very complicated way. I do believe some training is required, but then they can act on the entire system. So I'm going to give you some examples. I did want to mention that World Cyber had us on their slides. So we are partnered with World Cyber quite a bit. We have a lot of really great customer stories. We also have 3Kit in the room here. This is part of our ecosystem. We're part of basically like a lens, right? Because we don't just want to provide the software, we want to provide the software in addition to all of these extensive use cases. So I'm going to give you some examples. One of our customers is Crocs, and they've used a ton of both mostly predictive AI to create personalization, and they've had incredible success. In addition to that, I think something that's really exciting, or something that we sort of ideated with Crocs, is this concept of, live shopping. So this is a particular technology within our ecosystem, and this is termed video commerce. So what this means is you've got somebody who's doing a demo of the product, and during that show, you can go ahead and you can check out. So we actually created a demo with Crocs during one of our conferences. It was the only demonstration that generated revenue for the company because people interacting with it ended up purchasing the shoe. However, what's great here is the option for LLM will be the chatbot, right? So engaging the chatbot in an intelligent way, being able to answer questions, answer feedback, etc., and recommendations, as well as generative images. Another way that Commerce has used a bunch of predictive stuff is marrying promotions with audiences, so being able to target the right consumer with the right promotion at the right time. Something that's sort of near and dear to my heart is super cheap auto. So super cheap auto is a manufacturing use case. So they are a very big parts manufacturer in Australia. They sell $500 million worth of parts on their website. Yeah. That's an incredible amount of volume. And they do all of that on the Commerce platform. Now, I do believe that they are mostly direct to consumer, so I don't think that they end up being massive into their model. But their website is extremely optimized for very complicated product data because you need to find the right fitment to your car. So they actually have a My Garage functionality on the website, and you can enter in the type of vehicle they have, and it will filter the entire site just to the accessories that match. Something that actually 3Kit could do for them, and this is something that we ideated together, is to leverage visualization, and this is where generative comes in. For a manufacturer, one of the challenges that they might have is creating the right image for the right product at the right time, especially if that product comes in like a million different variations. The difficulty of taking a photo, like basically producing, making it, going and taking a photo and putting it online is an incredible amount of work. And so what ends up happening is a lot of manufacturers don't have a lot of photos of their products. They'll have one or two and they'll say, well, use your imagination. But that makes it very difficult to buy the item. So what Generative can do is build in a plan. It can actually be used to create all the different variations for the build to order, and like Mark is going to go into that. But one use case here is visualizing the accessory on the car. So if you're buying an accessory, being able to see what it looks like, right? So that's an area where Generative can sort of take this further. I'm going really fast. I feel like I'm going to finish ahead, but hopefully you guys have questions. Another interesting use case for commerce is actually retail banking. So I think somebody here mentioned fintech, and somebody here mentioned banking. So we're seeing some international banks, not so much in North America, but definitely in the UK. This is South Africa. They've taken their entire site and said, we're not just a website, we're an e-commerce site. Because why? Because we make money, we sell credit cards, we sell insurance products. Those are all transactionable things, and for that, we're going to use an e-commerce engine. So it's really fascinating the degree to which they've implemented something like Commerce Cloud to sell financial products. And that's really improved the scale of their website. Yeah. No way! Oh man. Does that have anything to do with their decision? Probably. Yeah, okay. Well, that explains everything. Yeah, okay. That's cool.
But I didn't put anything.
I don't think you're allowed to, so it's okay. So the other use case would be Ralph Lauren. This is more of a retail use case. And beauty is an interesting one too. L'Oreal does a lot of business with us. And I actually have a beauty use case that they. But what's cool with them is they've really invested in immersive. And immersive is an area where Generative is going to help us again. The same way as generating images for build to order, immersive can help us build worlds. So you can visit the Ralph Lauren virtual online store. And what's great about this is it really increases conversion. So one of the challenges with e-commerce is if you go on the site and then you're presented with a grid and you are there and the entire experience is optimized for somebody who's searching for XYZ. But then you lose the sort of attachment nature of that e-commerce experience. So what these virtual worlds can help us do is bring back discovery and excitement. So you're still walking through a space and you find extra items that you might be interested in that you hadn't considered before. So you can check this out. This is actually done by one of our partners called Obsess. And they've created an Apple Vision Pro demo that I'm going to show you. But they've done a ton of stores. Coach is really huge in this. And Coach is actually using games to gamify the entire shopping experience, which is very dangerous during the holiday season because you might end up spending a lot of money on it. So here is an example of something they've done with Apple Vision Pro. So what's great is that we have a partnership with Apple, and we're launching these experiences in the Apple Vision Pro headset that are connected to e-commerce and e-commerce engines. So everything from the cart to promotions to pricing to product information can be rendered what we call API first, right? So API only, and then brought to life in this environment. Now, Apple Vision Pro is not a big market, right? So we know that there's not a lot of people that have it, but the people that do have it is connected to your Apple Pay, and so everything is automated. And you can have more than just shopping here. You can have an integrated sort of experience where there's games. They've actually created a meditation application and an engagement environment. They have like some games here beyond just the shopping experience. So these are all really, really exciting use cases for e-commerce where we're just, AI is just taking everything to the next level. We can imagine a world in which what Obsess is working on is creating a visual assistant, right? So using LLM and GPT to create an agent to interact and engage with you, do natural language processing, be able to understand contextually, and then take it to the next level. So I don't have this in my slides, but there's actually a partner called Conversica that did this sort of before we did it. And they have this concept of personal assistants, and they've pre-trained it in various industries. One industry that they've pre-trained on is automotive. So actually, I think this might help you. Because in automotive, when you're buying a car, it's a very complex purchasing cycle. Like, you have to pick out your model, you have to get your discount, you have to understand your discounts, they're confusing to understand. Then you might do a test drive, then you might walk away, then you might have to talk to your family. It can take 2-3 months to buy a vehicle. So what they've done is they've created a personal assistant to help you through the process. So they can actually follow up with you and say, hey, you go to a test drive, when you come in and talk to the dealer. Or, you started the purchasing process, we need the deposit. We need this form, we need your driver's license, we need your insurance. All these different things that can help the purchasing process, they've trained a personal assistant to help you through it. And it's so good that clients that interact with Evie think that she's a real person. So they literally send her emails and say, oh my God, thank you so much, you've really helped me. And she's like, haha, I'm actually artificial intelligence. Yeah. And what's great is that if you interact with this company, they'll use Evie to book a meeting with you. And they actually have a connector into Marketing Cloud, so when it receives an out-of-office notification, it can understand when you're returning. And it can follow up with you after you're returning. And that's just going to change the game for direct selling. Because if we think about how much effort it takes to follow up with clients, even like post-event, you think about your experience today, right? You're going to go home, maybe you'll get a follow-up, maybe you're interested, maybe you're not. We could outsource all that to personal assistants, right? So we could be following up, we could be massaging the lead funnel, we could completely change direct selling. And if we combine that with an automated way or a self-service portal, where you can reorder prior parts, where you can see your invoices, where sellers could, like the seller world in B2B can change completely. Because they could walk in one day instead of receiving inquiries, they could be looking at orders. So you'll find out about this and many more things on my podcast because I have a ton of customers speaking to them. So I actually recently interviewed the VP of Commercial Operations from PacBio. So that is not live yet, but you'll find that interview for Rochester Electronics, as well as Darley. So Darley sells its business to government, actually. So they sell very complicated stuff to government. And they talk about how they were basically able to improve and increase their sales because their sellers would now have access to so much more data about what the customers were engaged with. Customers could go and look at products, they could look at their prior orders, they could look at the technical spec sheet by themselves without having to always ping their seller. And that didn't make the seller obsolete. You said it's not the person, it's not AI that will replace humans, it's the human with AI. That made the sellers, that gave the sellers superpowers. Because the sellers had all this information, so the next interaction with the customer was much more engaging. It pushed the deal further forward. They were able to close the deals faster. So I'm going to leave you with this last story, which is healthcare based. So another huge area of commerce or commerce growth is the healthcare industry. We're actually the only software vendor, e-commerce software vendor that's HIPAA compliant. That doesn't matter for Canada as much because we have different e-health regulations here, but HIPAA is actually more stringent, and so we do meet that e-health criteria. And what's interesting about healthcare is that on top of, profit and all the stuff that we talk about, there's an element of saving lives. So American Red Cross is obviously a vital service. They provide first aid kits. And one of the challenges with American Red Cross is that the huge amount of traffic they receive during tragic events. So during an earthquake or during a hurricane, they will have such a flood of people going on their website trying to figure out what they're supposed to do, trying to figure out, get a first aid kit. So thanks to Commerce Cloud, they were actually able to maintain that uptime during hurricane season and process those first aid kits so they could be there in critical moments and basically save lives. So technology can save lives. I just wanted to leave you with that inspirational nugget. Thank you.
Well, listen, my name is Mark Ubel. I work for a company called 3Kid. Matt did a nice job introducing this a little bit before. We are a visual commerce solution, and what that means is what it means is we help companies who sell complex products. We help them help buyers navigate those products. And AI is a game changer for us and for our customers. And we think about it as a tool to help them better navigate these complex products. When I talk about a complex product, maybe it's a configured window, maybe it's a forklift, maybe it's a luxury bag. That's what we do as a company. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about our company, and then I'm gonna show you how we're using, or how our customers are using AI with 3Kid. And maybe that sparks some interesting ideas for you or your companies or something like that. I'm not gonna claim that we have game-changing AI technology, but I think how our customers are using our sort of technology with AI is very novel and very interesting, particularly for B2B. So, quick background about our company. Started about 15 years ago. The technology was originally made for Hollywood. Hollywood was sort of the original place where 3D got really developed with CGI. So today our technology is still used in about 30% of Hollywood films. So that's one half of our company is a lot of Hollywood 3D technology. The other half of our company is a lot of folks who built the configurator software industry. A configurator is a sort of nuanced piece of technology, but it helps you sort of it helps a salesperson create a quote for a complex product. If you're selling a giant generator, for example, you need a configurator to help you sell that product because there's a lot of configurations to it. What happened is these two teams got together and they said, well, let's create a world where visually you can configure complex products and it's going to help people sell products. We've raised $65 million from a lot of different companies, including Salesforce. And today we've basically built our company around the concept of help companies sell complex products digitally. It's I'm not gonna call it simple, but in today's day and age, it's very simple to buy something off Amazon. It's very simple to buy something off Commerce Cloud or Shopify. It's 2-day delivery. You see thousands of reviews. It's very simple to buy a water bottle or a microphone or, a bottle of water online. But it's actually still very, very, very complex if you want to buy a highly configured window or door or forklift or $30,000 handbag. It's still very complex. There's a lot of things that someone has to go through, and we build our company for that. We work with a lot of companies across retail, manufacturing, building materials. And today I'm going to be sharing those insights. We have 2 products. Today I'm going to focus mainly on our Discovery AI product. And we built this product, this is what we're talking about AI today, to basically get buyers to say, I'm in the right place. Conceptually, you have solutions that fit my specific needs. And AI and 3Kit are very good at sussing that out. I think the thing to know, and Nat, you hit on this, is humans have very particular needs. We were talking to an aftermarket car part company today that makes audio solutions for cars. And they have 70 different types of speakers that can go in my Jeep. Well, which one is the right one for me? I like to go camping. I have a lot of kids. I like a little bit of bass. I listen to some hip hop music. Which is the right speaker for me? Today, that's the very, very hard solution to solve. And we want to solve that with Discovery AI. Our other solution is a visual configurator. So you can visually configure products, and AI is fueling this as well. AI can help, as you mentioned, Dr. Hassan, like AI is helping us in terms of creating visuals that are relevant to our customers. Because people want to visually see products before they buy it. It's very simple. I'll go through some context about why we built the company that we built. And the first and foremost thing is like, we are solving for complex buying journeys. 3Kit, what we built, it's not solving for simple things. It's not solving for buying, like I said, a cup or, I don't know, supplements or anything like that. It's like, if a thing costs $5,000 or $20,000 or $100,000, there's a complex committee of people and steps that need to happen in order to get educated. And the buyer has complex needs, they're not simple needs. And buyers get overwhelmed very easily in today's commerce landscape because there's filters or there's a search bar or there's PDPs, tons of PDPs. And the buyer instantly is gonna say like, I don't know if you have what I need, and they're gonna bounce. This slide basically says that, except now it has a stat from Gartner, which says 75% of buyers want to self-guide, but they can't. And eventually it comes down to talk to sales. Talk to sales. And most people don't want to talk to sales. They want to get a little bit further on their journey. And let's get into a quick demo. So this is a customer of ours. Has anyone here bought a door, a front door? Back. This is what Therma-Tru, this company sells $400 million a year in doors. This is what it looks like. Anyone see any doors they like yet? This is a great customer of ours, but they sell hundreds of millions of dollars of doors. You could scroll, you want to load more results. And this is what it looks like if you're buying a complex product, is hundreds, thousands, millions of options. Does anyone know any ideas of what you want to select in terms of filters? Maybe a classic craft collection door? Or fir? Does anyone know the difference between fir and mahogany? Or oak? Or smooth?
Them are trees, actually.
Yeah, they're all trees. I mean, I think, right?
What's a smooth tree though?
Right.
Few of them, that's why I mentioned few
Yeah.
of them, I don't know all them.
So almost any company that sells a complex product has basically this. Please come to my site, please. Paid a lot of money for you to get here. I paid a lot of money putting all these doors on my website. And you look, you can search. You can go to my PLPs. You can get inspired, but hey, no, 95% of people that are on this website are not here for fun. Maybe 99%. They want help. And this is the live experience we have with Therma-Tru. And this is a way for homeowners to get to the door that they might like. I'm going off of my hotspot, so the internet goes all right. And this is leveraging AI. And again, I'm not going to claim that we are rocket scientists without AI, but I think AI opens a new world where you can create guided selling, examples where someone does know, well, is your home more of a transitional? Is it more modern? Is it craftsman? And they have 175,000 doors in their catalog. They are not categorized by these filters. But AI is very good at understanding their catalog, what's available, what fits where, stylistically based on the images. What does it look like? What camps does it fall in? It knows, hey, are you looking for something elegant and sophisticated? Yeah, sure. You're looking for a front entrance store? That's what we were talking about before, right? Now there are these concepts, right, that it's just a guided selling thing where you're starting to say, these fit my needs. And let's say I want a little bit of privacy. Now I'm starting to get in the zone, the family of products that might actually be interesting. I still can't buy. Most of our customers don't do transactions online. These doors are actually $2,000 or $3,000. But now I'm starting to get understanding that this might be the right product for me, and I can talk to a dealer. And this to us is what we're trying to solve with our AI product. You can also do things like, I have a 1924 English Tudor home and in South Carolina and need something safe for hurricanes. And a small nuance here, but you can notice a lot of these are impact rated doors. I said we live in a hurricane zone. And again, you're in this world where you're starting to see, okay, English Tudor. So that's like kind of a Victorian look. You can see the leaded glass. And there's just this world here. Again, I'm not claiming to be some scientist, but AI is a game changer for people who want to get a little bit further if you sell something complex online. I'll show just one more example here. On this is also an ability here where you can, I live in a neighborhood, saw a door I liked, you can upload it, and you can say, hey, do you want to match based on the door or on the wall? And all of a sudden, you're getting recommendations of something you saw around town based on their real catalog. And so for us, and our customers, they see this as a major game changer because they're working in, now you talk about this a lot too, like we just believe that the world of e-commerce was built for something 15 or 20 years ago when we had slow internet and people had time to scroll tons of PDP pages, or they knew exactly what to search, and like that just doesn't exist today. And they need more tools, and we think AI is an opening tool for that. I'll show one other concept, and that is our customer ADEC. They make dental operatories. This is, if you've ever been to the dentist, there's a 100% chance you've sat in an ADEC office. They pretty much are a monopoly. They own the market. And they sell these to anyone who's building a dental office. And we're a visual configurator, right? So we built this amazing configurator for them. Look everyone, look how many options you can choose. There's 27 options for the casework laminates, and 27 options for the interior wall laminates, and the chair, and the stools, and the upholstery, the walls and floors. I mean, they deliver it all. But I think what they realize and what we realize is one of our best customers is, look, 99% of dentists don't actually want to go through with that. And if they do go through with it, they're not actually confident in what they configured. And so what we did, again, is attaching our visual configuration to AI to create results that they can actually manufacture, price, and quote. And so now you're getting, hey, I can type in, I run a dental office in Toronto and want a Blue Jays themed office. Just kind of messing around. Who knows what we'll come up with. But the concept here is the ability to feel some level of confidence. People don't want to make 1,000 clicks. They want to get recommendations from AI. And here you can see we've got this recommendation text, which we find is very important, which is create a Blue Jays themed dental office with I created a Blue Jays themed dental office with vibrant blue, crisp white, and bold red accents. Vibrant blue upholstery, deep blue tones in chairs and stools create a calming, sophisticated atmosphere. Interesting. The buyer might not buy this, but all of a sudden there's this new level of confidence in what they're building. And you can go, hey, I can, talk to a sales rep. I can go manually configure the rest of this, but now I'm in charge. And a lot of our customers are seeing this as a game-changing experience. So those are two of our customers who are using 3Kit AI today. And another one that I'll just quickly flash up on screen this is an example from Louis Vuitton, who is another user of our 3Kit AI product. And this is the Chief Information Officer of Louis Vuitton. And this is him on LinkedIn. And he went on French and German national TV to talk about 3Kit's AI configurator with Louis Vuitton. And essentially what he's saying, and this use case was very interesting, is here's what happens. Here's how Louis Vuitton uses 3Kit, is we work with their client advisors. And so when a customer walks in, they say, hey, client advisor, because client advisors deal with the rich people. And a rich person walks in, they say, hey, I'm going on a trip to Greece in 2 weeks, and I'm looking for a laptop, a laptop case, let's say, and I want it to be pink crocodile. And Louis Vuitton, these are all handmade things, they have a hard problem now. They're like, customer wants pink laptop case, budget is 20 grand, crocodile. We don't have that in inventory right now. And so they use a combination of 3Kit, their catalog, their inventory, and AI to suggest next best recommended products. So this is being used by 20,000 client advisors in the Louis Vuitton Global to help them recommend products that are, hey, this might be a better recommendation if you can't get exactly what you want, because you have a tight timeline. So, like I said, 3Kit, we are all about helping companies sell these complex products online, and we're finding that our customers are using AI, maybe not yet in the world changing, we need to partner more with Royal Cyber, but in ways small to get that buyer over the edge, which is just the next best thing to get them a little more confident. So, that's how we're using it, and happy to share it. Thanks for the opportunity to get here. Thank you.